All right, this video will be about rubric grading and how to set up a rubric and how to use it and the logic behind it. This rubric that we have in front of us is basically 4 sections that are all evenly weighted. They're all worth 100 points at the max. This is just going to be an average of those 4 scores. Now, the reason I made it 100 points is because the student will understand that at a glance. But look at this. Now, I've set this up. Now, I could have written in a great deal of information here as to why these criteria are set like they are, but in this case, I've made it very simple. I've got these 4 areas. I told the students in advance this is how they would be graded, and all I've got to do is I can come through here and just sort of click the grade that I want them to have. If I hit save and save changes here, it will automatically change those grades, and now that's all there is to it. So I can hop right through and I can click into this. So you have decided what your 4 areas that you're going to score are, and you have levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. The trouble is, if those levels 1, 2, 3, and 4 represent numbers, you're going to sort of mess people up, just because rubrics sort of ask you to do this, but it doesn't work. So here's an example. You see this student got a level 3, a level 2, a level 3, and a level 1. Now, you know, they're struggling perhaps, but they shouldn't be failing. But what happens is, you know, you just, out of 16 points, you figure out, you know, you make that a percentage, and it comes out to 56% if you just add that up. So that's not really cool. Another way people will sometimes do it is they will take these same scores, only now what they've done is they've sort of averaged them, and they're figuring level 1 is 60. I find a better way to do this still is this, and that is, I have a 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, or, you know, without the decimal, it doesn't much matters because it's really just a proportion, right? So what I do is the lowest they get is a D. A low D is essentially almost an F. I mean, it's that close, razor thin. But a 65 is a D. 69 is almost a C. So always try to score when you're scoring on a 10-point scale. Dead center is the actual score itself. So 65 is a D, 75 is a C, 85 is a B. And then you'll get the little 5-point bump if you get an A, because you're not going to get a 95 for an A, you're going to get 100, which is a great thing because that's another incentive for them. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at how to create these. Let's say I have an assignment that I've set up. Now this is a real simple paper I want them to write, and I only want it to have a single criteria, but I've set this up in my assignment, and I've gone in here to Advanced Grading, and then I click Define Rubric. All right, so I've set up a very simple assignment. Can they follow very simple directions? Right here you'll describe the criteria. Whatever the criteria is, if you have many of them, you would describe each of them in this little box before you fill in the balance of it. You can see I've already filled that in, but nonetheless, you just put in what that describes. And I'm going to just click into here, and I can add the statement that's going to accompany the point structure. So this is fairly intuitive. After I click that, I can just put in the description and the point structure. So not received is 0. That way I have a baseline for people who didn't do that, and it will inform the grade book of that. Now my D is 6.5. I have criteria that I made up for what that is, and then adjacent to that I put in 7.5 with criteria for my C. These can be as complex or as simple as you'd like. But let me show you how I add some more levels here. I'll add the last couple. All I do is I have come over here and I click where it says add level. And I'll put an 8.5 there, and I will describe what a B looks like. Then I'll put in a 10 here, and I'll describe what an A looks like. You can clearly do this for as many or as few categories as you'd like, but that's very simple to set that up. All right, so now I have in all of mine in this single column, and I'm done. If I wanted to add more criteria, I would just hit add criterion here, and I'm not going to do that for this, and I'm just going to let all of these be. I don't have to fiddle with this, and I'm not going to even go into explaining these. Just initially go ahead and just leave these all checked and hit save rubric to make it ready. Okay, so now let's move on. I'm going to create a rubric as people understand what the expectations are. They see the expectations, and then when they're writing it and they're creating it, they can glance at the rubric and just make sure that whatever you're expecting, they aren't going to be surprised by it. And that's a terrific method for grading across the board. So I'm going to come down here. I'm just going to leave these checked, and I'm going to say save rubric and make it ready. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and ask some students to go ahead and approach this, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to walk through and show you really quickly what this rubric looks like and how simple it is to grade.